Hey Stoic friends, welcome back to my channel. Yesterday, a man threw coffee in my face. Hot, black, deliberate. The entire cafe went silent, waiting for the explosion, waiting for the scene, waiting for the violence that should have followed such disrespect. I smiled, not because I'm some enlightened guru floating above human emotion, not because I'm dead inside. I smiled because 3 years ago I would have destroyed that man. 3 years ago I carried dynamite in my chest, and everyone I met held a match. 3 years ago, before I discovered what Marcus Aurelius called the discipline of desire, the ancient art of becoming psychologically invincible. Most people die having never learned what you're about to discover. They spend 70, 80, 90 years as emotional slaves, their entire inner world hijacked by waiters who bring cold food, by politicians they've never met, by strangers whose opinions shouldn't matter, but somehow determine whether they sleep peacefully or lie awake plotting revenge. They die exhausted from wars they never had to fight, poisoned by venom they never had to swallow, broken by powers they handed over willingly without even knowing it. The Stoics watched Rome burn and remained calm. They faced exile, torture, even execution with a strange, unshakable peace that disturbed their enemies more than any weapon could. Cato the Younger chose death over submission to tyranny, and his last words were about freedom, not the political kind, but the freedom from being controlled by anything outside his own soul. Seneca wrote letters about joy while Nero planned his murder. Epictetus taught happiness while his leg bore the scars of chains. Were they insane? Or did they know something we've forgotten? Tonight, you're going to learn why anger is not strength, but the ultimate weakness. Why every moment of rage is actually a moment of slavery. Why the person who can make you lose control owns you more completely than any chain ever could. But more than that, you're going to learn the exact method these ancient warriors of the mind used to transform from reactive victims into architects of their own peace. 5 laws, not suggestions, not gentle wisdom, laws, as immutable as gravity, as powerful as fire, as transformative as death itself. Laws that will rewire your nervous system, rebuild your emotional architecture, and resurrect you as someone your current self wouldn't recognize. Someone who cannot be broken, someone who cannot be controlled, someone who has finally learned the secret that most humans go to their graves without discovering. The secret is this: your anger was never your protector. It was your prison guard. Before we shatter these chains forever, do something revolutionary right now. Like this video if you're tired of being everyone's emotional puppet. Subscribe because this channel is about to become your training ground for psychological freedom. Share this with someone still fighting wars they don't need to fight. And listen to every word. Missing even one could mean missing the key to your cage. Type these 3 words. Freedom starts now. Let the transformation begin. Number 1. The anatomy of rage. Your anger is a scared child, pretending to be a warrior. A samurai once approached his master, sword drawn, demanding to know the difference between heaven and hell. The master looked at him with disgust and said, "You're nothing but a worm. Why would I waste my wisdom on something so pathetic?" The samurai's face turned crimson. His hand trembled on his sword. Just as he raised it to strike, the master smiled and said, "That is hell." The samurai froze, understanding flooding through him. He lowered his sword and bowed. "And that," said the master, "is heaven. Your anger wants you to believe it's your bodyguard, that it rises to protect you, to establish dominance, to prevent others from walking over you. But strip away its costume, remove its mask, and you'll find something that will revolutionize how you see every moment of rage for the rest of your life. Anger is terror wearing armor. Every single time you explode, it's because something inside you is screaming in fear. Fear of being insignificant. Fear of being powerless. Fear of being seen as weak, stupid, worthless, invisible. The louder your rage, the deeper your terror. The more violent your reaction, the more fragile the part of you that's really reacting. Marcus Aurelius knew this when he wrote in the depths of war, "How ridiculous and how strange to be surprised at anything which happens in life." He wasn't talking about becoming numb. He was revealing that surprise and its violent cousin, anger, only exist when reality crashes against the fairy tales we tell ourselves about how life should unfold. A driver cuts you off, and your anger screams because deep inside, a frightened voice whispers, "If people can treat me this way, maybe I don't matter." Your partner forgets your anniversary, and rage erupts because terror murmurs, "If they can forget me, maybe I'm forgettable." Your boss dismisses your contribution, and fury explodes because panic stutters. "If my work is worthless, maybe I am too." But here's where everything changes. Here's where you stop being anger's victim and start becoming its scientist. The next time you feel that familiar heat rising, that tension building, that explosion approaching, stop, not to suppress it, not to judge it. Stop to ask it the only question that matters. What are you afraid of? Watch what happens. Watch how your anger stumbles, confused by the question. Watch how it tries to redirect you back to the offense, back to the perpetrator, back to the injustice. But stay with the question. Demand an answer. What are you afraid of? And then watch the miracle. Watch as your rage reveals itself as a messenger, not a master. Watch as it shows you exactly where you're still psychologically bleeding, exactly where you've given your power away, exactly where you've forgotten that you are not what happens to you. You are what you choose to become because of it. Seneca wrote during his exile, "All cruelty springs from weakness." He wasn't talking about physical weakness. He was talking about the weakness of needing external reality to match our internal demands, the weakness of requiring others to behave according to our script, the weakness of making our peace contingent on things we'll never, ever control. Your anger isn't strong. It's the weakest thing about you. It's the part that still believes you need the world's permission to be okay. It's the part that hasn't learned what every Stoic master knew. True power isn't the ability to control what happens to you. It's the ability to control what you do with what happens to you. Number 2, the invisible chains, how you became addicted to your own suffering. There's a species of caterpillar that, when it feels threatened, releases a chemical that makes predators violently ill. The fascinating part, after releasing this poison enough times, the caterpillar becomes addicted to its own toxin. It begins creating threats where none exist, just to feel that familiar chemical rush through its system. You are that caterpillar. Your anger has become your drug, and you don't even know you're an addict. Every time someone makes you furious, your brain floods with adrenaline, cortisol, and norepinephrine, a cocktail more addictive than any substance humans have created. You've become a rage junkie, unconsciously seeking your next hit, finding reasons to be offended, creating conflicts where none need exist, because some twisted part of you has learned to love the high of your own fury. Epictetus exposed this sickness when he declared, "Any person capable of angering you becomes your master." He can anger you only when you permit yourself to be disturbed by him. But he wasn't just talking about giving away control. He was revealing humanity's darkest psychological secret. We choose our chains because they've become comfortable. We protect our triggers because they've become our identity. We defend our right to be angry because without it, we'd have to face the terrifying question of who we really are. The algorithm of your addiction works like this. Something happens. Your brain immediately scans for how this could be a threat, an insult, a violation. It finds one. It always finds one, because you've trained it to be a threat-detecting machine. The chemicals flood. You feel alive, powerful, justified. For those few moments of rage, you don't have to feel your deeper pain. You don't have to face your emptiness. You don't have to confront the void where your peace should be. But here's the revelation that shatters the addiction. Your anger has never once solved the problem it claims to address. Not once. That driver you screamed at, they drove away unchanged. That partner you berated, they either shut down or fought back, deepening the distance. That injustice you raged against on social media, it remains, fed by your fury rather than starved by your wisdom. The Stoics discovered something that modern neuroscience has only recently confirmed. The moment you feel anger rising, you have exactly 6 seconds before the chemical cascade becomes unstoppable. 6 seconds to choose freedom or slavery. 6 seconds to break the addiction or surrender to it. 6 seconds that determine whether you're a philosopher or a prisoner. Marcus Aurelius practiced what he called the pause of the gods. When he felt anger approaching, he would stop and recite, "This person is doing what seems right to them, based on their understanding, shaped by their pain, limited by their perception, just as I am." In that pause, in that sacred space between stimulus and response, empires were saved, wars were prevented, souls were healed. Your addiction wants you to believe that without anger, you'll be weak, that without rage, you'll be a doormat, that without fury, injustice will flourish. But observe the most powerful humans who ever lived. Buddha, Jesus, Gandhi, Mandela. They conquered empires not through anger, but through its absence. They changed the world not by matching hate with hate, but by becoming such immovable mountains of peace that violence broke itself against them like waves against stone. The withdrawal from anger addiction is real. You'll feel naked without your rage armor, vulnerable without your fury shield, lost without your wrath identity. But on the other side of that withdrawal lies something your current addicted self cannot even imagine. Unshakable peace, authentic power, true freedom. Number 3. The death of expectations. Why hope is your hidden enemy. Tomorrow, you will die, not metaphorically, not spiritually. Tomorrow, the body reading these words will cease to function, and everything you've worried about, raged against, and lost sleep over will become instantly, laughably irrelevant. This isn't morbid thinking. It's what Seneca called the ultimate clarity. He wrote, "Every night when I go to sleep, I die. Every morning when I wake up, I am born again." The Stoics practiced memento mori, remember death, not from depression but from wisdom. Because when you truly accept that you could die tomorrow, something miraculous happens to today. Your co-workers' annoying habits become irrelevant. Your neighbor's loud music becomes background noise to the symphony of being alive. Your partner's imperfections become evidence that you're loved by an actual human, not a fantasy. Expectations are tomorrow's resentments dressed in today's clothing. Every time you expect someone to act a certain way, you're writing a contract they never signed. Every time you demand life unfold according to your plans, you're declaring war on reality itself. And reality never loses that war. Never. The Buddhist master who taught Marcus Aurelius, his teacher, had a practice. Every morning he would hold his favorite cup and imagine it already broken. He would see the cracks, feel the sharp edges, mourn its loss. Then he would drink his tea. When the cup eventually broke, as all cups do, he would smile and say, "Oh, there it goes." No surprise, no anger, no grief, because he had already released it 1,000 times. Your suffering doesn't come from what happens. It comes from the gap between what happens and what you expected to happen. That gap is where anger lives. That gap is where disappointment breeds. That gap is where your peace goes to die. When you expect nothing, everything becomes a gift. When you demand nothing, everything becomes a miracle. When you release everyone from the prison of your expectations, you release yourself from the torture of constant disappointment. This doesn't mean becoming passive. It means becoming intelligent. You still act, still strive, still build. But like an artist who knows the wind might knock over their sandcastle, you build for the joy of building, not for the permanence of the result. You love people for who they are, not who you need them to be. You embrace today for what it offers, not what you ordered. Number 4. The alchemy of obstacles. Transforming your triggers into teachers. The Roman emperor who preceded Marcus Aurelius left him an empire in ruins, plague, war, betrayal, bankruptcy. Most would have raged against the injustice. Marcus wrote instead, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This wasn't philosophical poetry, it was practical magic. Every person who angers you is a master teacher in disguise. Every situation that triggers you is a university for your soul. Every moment you want to explode is actually an invitation to evolve. The Stoics called this the discipline of perception, the ability to see gold where others see garbage, to find gifts where others find grievances. That colleague who takes credit for your work. They're teaching you that your worth isn't dependent on recognition. That friend who betrayed your trust. They're showing you where you still confuse control with love. That parent who never gave you approval. They're revealing that you already have everything you've been seeking from others. Epictetus, whose leg was deliberately broken by his master, later said, "I am grateful to my master for showing me what I could endure." He wasn't grateful for the cruelty. He was grateful for discovering he was unbreakable. The universe conspires to trigger you precisely where you need to grow. It sends you exactly the people who will push exactly the buttons that need pushing until those buttons no longer work. It's not punishment, it's education. It's not torture, it's training. When someone cuts you off in traffic, the universe is asking, can you maintain your peace when disrespected? When your partner criticizes you, life is questioning. Can you hold your worth when challenged? When injustice surrounds you, existence is demanding. Can you be the calm in chaos? Most people fail these tests repeatedly, never realizing they're tests at all. They rage against their teachers, fight their lessons, resist their growth. They die having learned nothing, having grown nowhere, having remained exactly who they were at 20, just wrapped in older skin. But you're different. You're reading this because something in you knows the secret. Your triggers are treasure maps. Follow them not to the person who triggered you, but to the wound in you that's begging to be healed. Follow them not to revenge, but to revelation. Follow them not to war, but to wisdom. Number 5. The ultimate power. Becoming psychologically invincible. Viktor Frankl stood naked in a Nazi concentration camp. Everything stolen. Family murdered, possessions gone, even his name replaced with a number. A guard beat him while laughing, and in that moment, Frankl realized something that would echo through eternity. Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing: the freedom to choose one's attitude in any given circumstances. This is the summit. This is where all Stoic philosophy leads, not to emotional numbness, but to ultimate power. The power to choose your response regardless of the stimulus. The power to maintain your peace regardless of the chaos. The power to remain yourself regardless of the pressure to become someone else. Marcus Aurelius called it the inner citadel, the fortress within you that no external force can breach. But it's not built from stone or steel. It's built from choice. Every time you choose response over reaction, you add a brick. Every time you choose peace over provocation, you strengthen the walls. Every time you choose wisdom over wrath, you become more invincible. The formula is ruthlessly simple. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies your freedom. In that space lives your power. In that space exists the you that you're capable of becoming. Most people don't even know that space exists. They live their entire lives in unconscious reaction, slaves to every stimulus, prisoners of every provocation. But once you discover that space, once you learn to live in that pause, you become something beyond human, as most understand it. You become what the Stoics called the sage. Not someone who never feels anger, but someone who feels it approaching and chooses peace anyway. Not someone immune to hurt, but someone who transforms hurt into wisdom before it becomes hatred. This isn't about becoming a doormat. It's about becoming a mountain. Mountains don't need to react to storms. They simply endure, and the storm exhausts itself. Mountains don't fight the wind. They stand firm, and the wind flows around them. Mountains don't argue with lightning. They ground it and remain unmoved. You have that mountain inside you. It's been there all along, buried under years of reactive patterns, covered by decades of conditioned responses, hidden beneath lifetimes of unnecessary suffering. But it's there, waiting, ready, immovable. The man who threw coffee in my face came back 20 minutes later, trembling, tears in his eyes. He'd confused me with someone who'd destroyed his business, ruined his life. When he realized his mistake, he expected violence, lawsuit, humiliation. Instead, he found something that changed him forever, someone who had chosen peace over pride, compassion over conflict, freedom over fury. We sat together for 3 hours. He told me about his bankruptcy, his divorce, his father who just died thinking he was a failure. By the end, we were both crying, not from pain, but from recognition. Two humans who'd learned the same lesson from different teachers. Anger is just fear having a temper tantrum. Rage is just pain wearing a mask. Fury is just love that doesn't know how to express itself. You started watching this video as someone who could be controlled by anyone with the power to push your buttons. You're finishing it as someone who understands that those buttons were illusions. You were never actually angry at them. You were angry at the story you told yourself about what their actions meant. From tonight forward, you carry the wisdom of emperors, the peace of philosophers, the power of those who cannot be broken because they've chosen to become unbreakable. The Stoics didn't conquer anger. They transcended it. They didn't fight their emotions. They understood them. They didn't become inhuman. They became fully human. Your transformation starts now. Like this video if it opened your eyes. Subscribe because this journey has just begun. Share it with someone still fighting unnecessary battles. Comment below with your commitment to freedom. Type these final words. Peace is power. Remember, you are the only person who can make you angry. And now, you never have to be again.